You're watching your kid sit alone at recess again. Not playing, not running, just watching the other kids, like they're studying them. The teacher pulls you aside and says, "Have you thought about having them evaluated?" Your mother-in-law tells you they're too sensitive. Your partner says you're overreacting. Everyone's got an opinion, and none of them are good. And some nights, after they've finally fallen asleep, you lie there wondering if something's actually wrong with your child. But what if nothing is wrong with them? What if everything is right? What if the thing that worries you most about your kid is the exact thing that makes them exceptional and the research proves it? Developmental psychologists have been studying children like yours for decades, and what they found doesn't just ease your worry, it redefines it. Your kid doesn't ask, "Why is the sky blue?" They ask, "If we can't see air, how do we know it's really there?" They ask things that make you pause mid-chore because you genuinely don't know the answer. Most adults see this and think the child is being difficult, being a smart aleck, trying to get attention. Teachers call it disruptive. Relatives call it exhausting. Psychologist Ellen Winner at Boston College calls this a rage to master, an almost obsessive need to understand the world at a level most children never reach. It's not defiance. It's a brain that refuses surface-level answers because it's wired for depth. Your child's questions aren't annoying. They're evidence of a cognitive architecture most adults never develop. And that's just the first sign. While other kids are chasing each other around the playground, yours is building something in the corner, reading, thinking. They don't seem lonely, they seem complete. Society panics about this. They need more socialization. Something must be wrong. Are they depressed? Everyone assumes a child who chooses solitude is struggling. A study published in the British Journal of Psychology found that highly intelligent individuals actually derive less life satisfaction from frequent social interaction. Their brains process stimulation at a deeper level, meaning they need less of it, and need more time alone to integrate what they've absorbed. Your child isn't struggling to connect. They're selective about where they spend their cognitive energy. That's not a deficit, that's a filter most adults wish they had. But here's where it gets really interesting. They cry at movies other kids laugh at. They get angry, really angry about things being unfair. They feel everything at a volume that seems too high for their age. People call them dramatic, oversensitive. They'll grow out of it. The world treats emotional intensity like a problem to be managed. Polish psychologist Kazimierz Dąbrowski developed a theory called overexcitabilities, 5 areas where gifted individuals experience the world with disproportionate intensity: intellectual, emotional, imaginational, sensory, and psychomotor. Emotional overexcitability isn't instability. It's a nervous system that processes moral and emotional information at a depth most people never reach. Your child doesn't feel too much. They feel at a resolution most people can't access. That's not a flaw in their wiring. That's the wiring working exactly as it should. Let that land for a second. The report card comes home and it says, bright, but doesn't apply themselves. They're staring out windows, doodling, finishing assignments in 5 minutes, and then getting in trouble for the remaining 40. Schools are built for the middle of the bell curve. So when a child operates outside of it, the system doesn't say, "We need to catch up to this kid." It says, "This kid has a behavior problem." Research from the National Association for Gifted Children shows that up to 50% of gifted students are never formally identified because their boredom gets misread as laziness, defiance, or even learning disabilities. Their brains crave cognitive challenge. Without it, they disengage. Not because they can't, because they've already finished. Your kid isn't failing the system is failing your kid. And the fact that they're bored is the most hopeful sign you'll ever get, because it means their brain is hungry for more. And the next one? This is the one that keeps parents up at night. They make jokes that land with adults but fly over their classmates' heads. They use sarcasm, real sarcasm, at an age where most kids are still doing knock-knock jokes. Sometimes they say something so unexpectedly sharp that you have to look away so they don't see you laugh. Other parents think it's rude. Teachers call it inappropriate. It gets labeled as attitude. Cognitive scientists at the University of Vienna found that humor comprehension, especially dark and absurdist humor, correlates strongly with higher verbal intelligence and emotional processing. Humor requires the brain to hold two contradictory ideas simultaneously and find the gap between them. That's not attitude. That's advanced cognitive function running in real time. Your kid isn't being disrespectful. They're processing language and emotion at a speed that puts them 3 steps ahead of the room, and they're doing it at 7 years old. They talk to imaginary friends past the age that's considered normal. They build entire civilizations in their head with rules, economies, characters. They sometimes seem like they're somewhere else entirely, because they are. People worry. Shouldn't they have outgrown this by now? Are they dissociating? Is this healthy? Developmental research shows that prolonged imaginative play is one of the strongest predictors of creative intelligence in adulthood. These children aren't escaping reality, they're building parallel ones. Their brains are running simulations, testing social structures, exploring consequences. It's the same cognitive function that drives innovation in adulthood. Your child isn't lost in their head. They're building worlds most people will never see, and someday they'll build one in reality too. So ask yourself, when was the last time someone told you this was a gift instead of a problem? They don't just accept rules, they interrogate them. But why do I have to? Isn't defiance for them. It's a genuine question. They need the logic. Without it, they can't comply, because blind obedience feels physically wrong to them. This is the one that gets kids punished the most. Schools call it oppositional. Parents call it exhausting. Society calls it a problem. Research on moral development from Lawrence Kohlberg shows that most children operate at the conventional stage. They follow rules because rules exist. But a smaller percentage reach post-conventional reasoning earlier than expected, where they evaluate rules based on internal ethical principles. These children aren't rebelling. They're morally reasoning at a level beyond their years. Your child isn't defiant, they're principled, and the discomfort that creates in a classroom, that's not a behavioral issue. That's the future refusing to fit inside a box that was built for the past. And I'm not going to pretend this is easy. Raising a child like this costs you something. You fight battles at school that other parents never have to fight. You explain your kid to people who should be learning from them. You carry a kind of loneliness because how do you tell someone that your child's greatest gift is the thing the world keeps trying to fix? But the fact that it's hard, that's how you know it's real. Easy children follow the current. Yours is building their own river. And the parents who never question whether their kid is okay, they're not luckier. They're just not paying as close attention as you are. Your child was never the problem. They were the answer to a question the world hasn't learned to ask yet. And the fact that you're still here, still watching, still searching, still fighting for them, that tells me everything about where they got it from. If this changed how you see your child even a little, drop a comment telling me which sign hit closest to home. I read every single one. And if this is the kind of content that makes you feel like someone finally gets it, hit that subscribe button. I'll keep making videos that prove what the world keeps getting wrong about people like you and kids like yours. They didn't get it from nowhere.